In 1928, when America's second national park, Sequoia National Park, expanded from the famous giant Sequoia Grove to the Eastern Sierra and infamous Mount Whitney, park officials had to decide how visitors would travel, as there were no roads or trails. The decision was made to keep the area wild and build trails instead of roads and parking lots. Along with that, they sought to create a trail with manageable walking grades while not scarring the landscape. It would be no easy task, and thus the High Sierra Trail was born.
The High Sierra Trail is one of California's most iconic Trans-Sierra routes, crossing the heart of Sequoia National Park and ending on the summit of Mount Whitney. It's a microcosm of the Sierra itself, starting in giant sequoia groves, descending into deep river valleys, climbing high passes, and finishing on the highest point in the lower 48. I was fortunate to take on this journey with Fullerton, California Scout Troop 93, their leaders, and a few parents, beginning with an overnight at Lodgepole Campground and hitting the trail at Crescent Meadow on July 25, 2025.
Day 1, Crescent Meadow to Bear Paw Meadow. The morning at Crescent Meadow felt electric. Packs were cinched, boots laced, and Troop Randy 3's chatter bounced through the grove of sequoias. The trail began gently, winding past lush ferns and trunks older than our nation. The air was thick with the scent of pine and damp earth, and every bend revealed a glimpse of the Great Western Divide. Those snowy ridges were not just scenery, they were our destination.
Everybody wave and say hi to the camera. Hi, camera. Day 1 of the HST.
The selfie stick.
Yeah, Crescent Meadow to Bear Paw. A whole 3 miles in so far.
By late afternoon, Bear Paw Meadow came into view, perched with a sweeping panorama straight toward the divide. We staked our tents, shared a hot meal, and watched the sun fade behind the peaks. Tomorrow, the real climb would begin.
Day 2, Bear Paw Meadow to beyond Sequoia Gap. From Bear Paw, the trail clung to the mountainside, carved into ledges with views down to Lone Pine Creek. The bridge across Lone Pine Creek brought a mix of wonder and awe as scouts made their way across the gorge.
Hamilton Lakes appeared by midday, its mirror surface broken only by the silver streak of a waterfall dropping from the cliffs above. After some fishing and lunch, we tackled the steep climb up to Hamilton Gorge and past Precipice Lake, the trail etched into granite. The final push over Sequoia Gap, 10,700 feet, opened a whole new world. Ahead lay the Big Arroyo, wide and wild. We descended to a quiet streamside camp, some enjoying a late afternoon dip to wash off the dust of the trail.
Day 3, Upper Big Arroyo, side trip to Eagle Scout Peak and camp at Big Arroyo. The morning frost shimmered in the Big Arroyo as we set off for the approach to Eagle Scout Peak. Before the climb, we enthusiastically lightened our packs of bear canisters and gear. The climb wound through slabs and snow patches until we stood looking across an ocean of Sierra peaks and lakes, Whitney just a pale shape on the eastern horizon.
Hiking to camp after the climb, the afternoon passed in the easy rhythm of the backcountry, exploring meadows, drying gear on boulders, and swapping stories.
The Sequoia Gap loomed behind us, the Kern River Canyon waiting ahead, and the crush of mosquitoes buzzing around our heads as we tried to fish.
Day 4, Big Arroyo to Moraine Lake. Instead of dropping into the Kern Canyon, we curved east across the Chigupa Plateau. The lodgepole pine stood in open sunlight, the trail soft underfoot. Marmots whistled from boulders, and the sequoias grew smaller with each mile.
So today we're going to hike to Moraine Lake. It's about 8 miles, and last night we camped at Big Arroyo. So as you can tell, it's a beautiful day today. So let's keep on hiking.
Moraine Lake greeted us in the early afternoon, clear, still, and perfectly reflecting the sky. Some swam in its cool water, others stretched out on sun-warmed shore. Evening brought dinner near the lake shore and a sky filled with stars.
Day 5, Moraine Lake to the Kern River and Junction Meadow. We left the stillness of Moraine Lake and dropped steadily toward the Kern River. The air grew warmer, the forest more sparse until the canyon swallowed us. Lunch on the shady riverbank was long and lazy, our feet soaking in the icy current.
Well, we've made it to the mighty Kern River.
The afternoon climb to Junction Meadow was hot and slow, but the wide, pine-shaded campsites felt like an oasis. The Kern's low rumble was our lullaby.
Good morning, day 6. We're at Junction Meadow, and we're going to head up about 4 miles to the John Muir Trail and then over to Crabtree. Yesterday was 15 miles, and today is about 7.5 with about 2,500 feet of elevation gain. Everybody's doing pretty good and hanging in there, so let's keep on hiking.
Day 6, Junction Meadow to Crabtree Meadow via Wallace Creek. We followed the Kern upstream before the trail turned sharply upward toward Wallace Creek. The climb was steady and the air thinned with each switchback. Lunch in the shade of lodge poles by a vast meadow was a welcome break. In the afternoon, the meadows opened, and Whitney's pale summit finally came into view. Crabtree Meadow spread wide beneath it, a perfect high camp, with the promise of the upper reaches above Guitar Lake ahead. Day 7, Crabtree Meadow to the willows above Guitar Lake. Today's short hike took us higher into granite country. Guitar Lake appeared below us, cold and still, but we pushed a little farther to a sheltered site in the willows about 1 mile above it. From here, we could see tomorrow's route faintly, the switchbacks to Trail Junction etched into Whitney's flank.
Good morning. It's day 7. Yesterday we hiked from Junction Meadow to Crabtree. I think I said earlier it was 8 miles. It's more like 9. Great campsite there. Met the ranger, got some good trail beta. And today we're going to hike about 4 miles. We're going to try and camp above Guitar Lake and then get up really early in the morning tomorrow, hike Whitney, and then hike out to the portal. All right, hike on. Oh, by the way, somewhere back there is Whitney and the Needles, and our final destination will be the portal. Off we go.
We spent the afternoon resting, filtering water, and letting the anticipation build. Dinner was early, the stars brilliant, and we turned in knowing the next day was the one we'd been working toward all week.
Day 8. Whitney Summit and the long descent to Whitney Portal. At 2 a.m., headlamps cut the darkness as we left camp. The climb to Trail Junction was steep and silent, the sky bright with stars until the first silver glow touched the horizon.
Woohoo! First one's on top.
By 5:30 a.m., the group stood on the summit of Mount Whitney. The Sierra stretched endlessly in every direction, the Owens Valley far below. We celebrated, took photos, and quietly took in the weight of the moment. We had walked here from the giant sequoias of Crescent Meadow.
The descent was long. Back to Trail Crest, down the 99 switchbacks, past Trail Camp, and into the warmer air of Whitney Portal. Packs came off for the last time, cold drinks, snacks, and burgers disappeared in seconds, and the trip was suddenly a memory. One made of granite, stars, rivers, and the unshakable bond of sharing the Sierra's heart together.